My name is Kathy Dew. I am a Senior Product Marketing Manager on the PowerApps and Flow team, and today I am joined by, as he takes a drink.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Wes Preston. I'm a SharePoint MVP who's been spending a bunch of time with PowerApps lately.
Yeah. So we're really excited today to talk to you about creating custom forms and digital experiences for SharePoint with Microsoft PowerApps. So we kind of went through our quick little intros there. We're going to jump right in. So how many of you have been to another session here at Ignite about PowerApps and Flow? How many of you have used PowerApps or Flow in the past? Oh, fantastic. So many great people. We're really excited to showcase to you today many of the new things you've seen and talk to you a little bit about how you can utilize PowerApps and Microsoft Flow as the successors to InfoPath and SharePoint Designer workflows, using the very simple visual designer for PowerApps and Flow. So kind of give you the quick landscape as you go through. Our business application platform is made up of PowerApps, Flow, and Power BI. Today we're focusing just on PowerApps and Flow. More on PowerApps than Flow, but we're still going to show you a little bit of Flow. With our direct integrations into SharePoint is really what we're going to highlight today, Office 365. However, we have a lot of those same integrations into the Dynamics 365 product as well. So you can start to think of these across all of our Microsoft tier as to how we can utilize these. And then built underneath that, our supporting data layer is the Common Data Service. Many people haven't heard a lot about the Common Data Service, and we're really excited to see that continue to grow and evolve, and more people to put that data in there. It really allows us to utilize a system of gateways and connectors to put data into the Common Data Service, add our ProDev extensibility components into both PowerApps and the Common Data Service to really transform into full solutions that you want to use on top of what you can do by default with PowerApps and Flow. So what we're going to go into today is really talking about PowerApps from how you can build solutions for where business happens. So what we really see with PowerApps, and I know Wes can speak to this too, is it's truly that solution that people build for those last line of business solutions, those solutions that you've asked IT for and they just haven't had time to do, or they haven't committed the budget behind traditional software development to build, those kinds of solutions that we need. And Wes, you can talk maybe about any of the ones you've seen as well on this, but where business happens.
And just to give a little bit more background on that too, is I've spent the last couple of years, hello, there, it's still there, working on starting with SharePoint out of the box and then sliding into this area where we were doing things with JS Link, where we were extending what we could do with SharePoint lists.
Now with JS Link, Wes,
Yep.
Did you have to write code for that?
There was code involved.
Oh.
Or as Jennifer Mason would say, there were semicolons involved.
There were semicolons.
Yep.
I'm kind of allergic to semicolons.
As most people are,
Are you
non-developers.
allergic to semicolons? Yeah.
So how many people have not seen PowerApps at all? Has everyone seen it by this point in the week? Okay.
A couple of people. So with PowerApps, it gives us that kind of mobile-first component of it. It runs across mobile, tablet, and in the web browser, so we can kind of utilize it across wherever we are. But we see that kind of mobile workforce emerging. I don't know about you, but I live and die by my iPhone. In fact, I kind of chuckle that if I've misplaced it for a couple of hours, I start to shake, like I don't know where it is. Do any of you relate to that? Yeah, so as we have this new generation of workers coming into the workforce who will never have entered the workforce without those mobile devices as a core component of it, being able to utilize PowerApps to build solutions that they can run on their phones wherever they are really starts to give us that new power that InfoPath didn't give us before. So why did people use InfoPath, Wes?
Why did they?
Putting him on the spot. I'm throwing him off.
You're talking to the guy who tried it out when it first came out and went, no thanks, and moved on, which is why I spent a lot of time using JS Link and extending forms different ways.
So when I, in my previous lifetime, spent many a day writing InfoPath forms and customizations, people really used it because they could build those forms that they needed to do the things in their business that they wanted to have. They needed business rules. They wanted to do conditional formatting. They wanted those cascading drop-downs so that if I needed to pick a country, that would then give me the states, which would then give me the cities within the state, being able to create that. And then they wanted to do crazy things like formatting and layout, which I don't know if, how many of you built InfoPath forms or used them? Yeah. Would you call it a great design tool? Yeah, I didn't either, but they definitely used it for that, and they were the alternative to custom development, right? I could go through and use InfoPath Designer, maybe not super easily. I had to do a little bit of learning to learn how to use InfoPath Designer, but then I could start creating those kinds of line of business forms, but they were very forms-based. They weren't really easy. They had that XML foundation. Ugh. They were not mobile friendly. Did anybody ever try to put an InfoPath form on a mobile device? Because I sure did, and it wasn't fun, and it wasn't really pretty either. And me, I go back to it, that look and feel, that design component of it. I just had no control over it. Can't tell you the number of times that I fought to get just a logo into my InfoPath forms. It just wasn't something there. But a few years ago, at a SharePoint conference, they announced the end of InfoPath, right? InfoPath was deprecated. And until the last year, you probably haven't heard what that successor is. And we're super glad that it's PowerApps, and we really hope that you'll start to adopt it. And with some of the new things that we've showcased today in this session, as well as in other sessions across the conference, I think you'll start to see how that really is truly becoming the successor across it. It is going to go away eventually. You notice we put the eventually, right? Because we still have, what, another 10 years?
Is it 2026? Is
yeah,
that the latest date?
Another 10 years almost of support on InfoPath, right? PowerApps.
All right.
Are you excited for PowerApps, Wes?
I'm super excited.
Have you had any great experiences with PowerApps yet?
I've had good experiences with PowerApps. Now, the greatness is there. We just need to get there.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
there.
And to back up a little bit from what you were talking about, one of the things I wanted to mention was coming from the SharePoint world, simplifying down kind of that business need. One of the things that we needed day to day was to be able to create a form or to create a solution based on a SharePoint list without showing all of the fields, or to be able to show them in a way that we could control a little bit more. So she alluded to some of those things. The use case I saw most often was if I was doing something, and if anyone came to the theater session I had yesterday, seems like the other day. We talked about intake forms. So having a form where we could drive requests and people that manage to those requests. And if we have that in a single list, we have a lot more fields than we want our users to see. We want them to come in very quickly and say, here's what I need, here's how many, here's how big of a priority it is. But then not have to see things like what tech was assigned to it, what are the notes that the techs are working with, things like that. And having that solution in SharePoint, out of the box, when you say, hey, new item, you get everything, which is okay, but a better user experience is to say, new item, just get the fields I want them to fill out. This is where PowerApps is fantastic. And that's what we'll show here in a demo in a few minutes.
It's a little bit better. Thanks, Wes. So we didn't want to spend a lot of time. We're going to just have a few slides, and then we're truly going to do a lot of demos for you today. We have 3 very different demos that we're going to go through. But we do want to highlight a few PowerApps advantages. So PowerApps are part of that cloud deployment approach, so just like Office 365. We get constant updates in it, so if there's a feature that you're needing today that maybe isn't there, it's going to continue to get updated, and we definitely take that feedback in and add new things constantly.
When did rules come out?
They're still...
Last Friday.
Yeah, brand new. I have to think about it a minute because I've been testing them a little bit,
We're in a
so
time
I
warp
have to
too.
remember, but I'm glad you remembered last Friday. So they roll out all the time. Some of the things you're seeing in the sessions today and at the conference are going to be rolling out to first release in the next couple of weeks, so you'll even start to see things coming out that you're seeing today. They're part of that suite of tools, that family of tools, that business application platform with Power BI. And so you get that level of automation with Microsoft Flow and visualization of our data with Power BI that you can easily integrate right within PowerApps. And then, I don't know about you, Wes, while SharePoint may be one of my favorite connectors, it's by far not the only connector to data that I need to make in my job, right? I maybe have data in Dynamics 365, or I have it I need to connect out to my email. We have over 100 connectors that you can utilize for Power Apps and Microsoft Flow today, and that list is also continually updating and growing. So think about it not just from a pure SharePoint perspective, which is what we're going to focus on today, but from how you may have data stored across multiple data systems and you need to connect it together, and utilizing the power of our connector system to do that.
And this is something I am super excited about, because a lot of the solutions that we build in SharePoint, we're often pulling data from other systems, either for a lookup or maybe additional data, or I wanted to push something from a SharePoint list business application to other data sources. That was a pain. Has always been a pain. We've had multiple directions we could go with fulfilling that solution, but having these connectors to all the other data natively makes this super easy.
Right. And then modern UI. You know, you hear a lot about modern with SharePoint Team and Office 365 and about it looking modern. And with Power Apps, you have that natively, and we can go in and do it. And then, Wes, how often do you need to run apps on your phone?
All the time.
All the time. So we're very
Track
mobile
Legos.
friendly. In fact, you can build that mobile app. Build it. I had a theater session earlier today where we built a 5-screen mobile app for a phone connected to multiple SharePoint lists, saved it, published it, and shared it all within 15 minutes. So you can start to build out these apps very quickly and share them out from a mobile experience. So Wes, we talked a little bit about that semicolon thing earlier.
Yeah.
Many of you may be allergic to semicolons like a lot of us are. This is that low-code, no-code tool set that is designed for end users. You do not have to be a professional developer to make this work. Are you a professional developer, Wes?
That would be a questionable answer.
Yeah. So questionable is true. He does write code, but I don't know that you tout yourself as a professional developer. No. So we can write these without code. Fantastic, right? It's like PowerPoint and Excel came together and created something for the end user to build mobile applications with, and that's Power Apps and Microsoft Flow. So we can easily do that.
Yep.
And then we're going to show you the last one, so not a lot to really go in. Now, as we're looking at Power Apps and SharePoint, we have a lot of built-in integrations and touch points right to SharePoint. So you can use those data connectors to start from Power Apps, start from blank, add a SharePoint connector. And then this week, we've talked a lot about our new feature that's going to be rolling out, SharePoint list embedded forms. So you're going to be able to start building them right from my SharePoint list, replace our new and edit forms right with the Power Apps. And then you can actually build Power Apps straight from my SharePoint list. I don't have to go somewhere else. I don't have to start from blank. I have a list. That's where my data is. We want to build from there. And then you can even take it one step further, and you can embed Power Apps within a SharePoint page with the embedded web part. And then we've announced that we're going to have a native SharePoint web part for Power Apps that'll be coming sometime this year. Right? So there's a lot of different ways that we can integrate Power Apps into SharePoint, or we can make use of that SharePoint data within Power Apps.
And I think it's important to note, too, that with the way that we're looking at data now, coming from how many folks here are coming from the SharePoint world? All right, how many folks are coming from other places and just kind of curious? All right, so you're mostly SharePoint people. From the SharePoint perspective, it's nice to know that this is a data source, right? So you don't have to be in here doing the embedded forms, creating a Power App from a SharePoint list. You can create a Power App from scratch, and SharePoint is just one of many data sources. So you can say, go to this site collection, pick this list, bring my data in. I can actually go to multiple site collections and bring data in. So at the end of the day, it's a data source. The rest of these, with embedded forms and with creating a Power App from a SharePoint list, are just accelerating that for us. So we just happen to already be in a SharePoint site and kick it off from there. But SharePoint is just another data source for Power Apps.
You mentioned a really key thing in there, Wes. One of the things that I know that I've been really excited about from my SharePoint background is that I can connect across multiple site collections and multiple sites all into the same Power App, right? So we've all had that limitation previously where something existed somewhere else and building it wouldn't let me connect it. Well, with Power Apps, you can do that. You can go across multiple site collections. You can even go across multiple sites. Multiple domains if you need to, if you have credentials into it. So it is all allowing us to connect across SharePoint regardless of what SharePoint is, connects into our OneDrive as well. So there's lots of different ways that we can combine all that data together into that single interface. That was a really key differentiator.
And we also need to rethink where we're storing things. Because we're coming from the SharePoint world, it's easy for us to just go, I want to spin up a SharePoint list, because that's what we've been doing for years. And we still get all the benefits of SharePoint lists with our views and pages and being able to build things out like that. But we've also run into, and how many people, I'm curious, have run into issues where they start doing relational data-ish solutions in SharePoint.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Is SharePoint really awesome at that? Not so much. So,
guess what is awesome at that, Wes?
Yeah, I don't want to discourage the SharePoint side because I do love it.
But I'm going to just put my hand up so I can't see Chris as I say that. Guess what is awesome at that,
If you
Wes?
stand back,
the
PowerApps.
Common Data Service is really awesome at that, relational data.
So it's gonna make us question where we need to store that data. Do we want to put it still in SharePoint? The relational functionality that SharePoint still does really well is the lookups. But if you start getting into parent-child relationships, one-to-many, that type of thing, at the end of the day, it probably shouldn't be in SharePoint. And because we've got PowerApps, we can start to think about that a little bit differently to figure out, or to think through what should be in SharePoint, what might be in SQL, what might be in the Common Data Service, or where else I might have my data store. So it's something that, as SharePoint people, we're going to have to take a step back and think about a little bit. We're going to be focusing on SharePoint today, but that's just a little note for you to think about.
So in today's session, we're actually going to go through scenarios that cover the first 3 things on this list. Right? So we're going to go through, and these were all typical things that we did with InfoPath. And so we're going to go through those, but we're going to talk a little bit about them, and then we're going to jump in and show them, just so you have it. And this is brand new, this embedded in SharePoint lists. Brand new features coming out that you will have seen for the first time this week. And so, Wes, do you want to talk a little bit about how easy it is to build these? Because you've been building quite a few of them in the last few days.
Yeah, what's nice about the embedded forms piece is that it is very natural. It flows very easily. So the first row there of images that you've got, and you'll see this here in a few minutes. These are the touch points inside of SharePoint. So where in the past we've had create PowerApps and then create an app, now we've added the customized forms. If you've already got a form open, you're going to have that the ability to jump to a customization from there. And then if you're in the list settings, there's a form setting place in there. I'm like, what's the right term?
It's form setting.
Yeah, so there's a form setting page where you can now choose if you want to stay with the SharePoint native forms, if you want to go to PowerApps forms, and then there's a third option on there too.
There's a third option on there, little InfoPath thing.
Yeah.
The great thing with form settings is that you can choose which one you need to use at the time. So you can roll back to the others if needed by coming to form settings and saying, well, I'm in InfoPath now, we want to try our Power App out, but maybe we need to go back and fix it. We don't want to lose the InfoPath. It keeps it. You can jump around and use them. We, of course, would love it if you would just move to the Power Apps one and leave that InfoPath one behind, right? But it is there in the settings, and you can jump around between them. But then once you're in Power Apps, Wes, what do you do?
Once you're in, if you're going through the embedded, you've jumped into PowerApps, and once you're done, you don't have to go and deploy and push and find the button and do this. You go back to SharePoint. That's it. So you're going to jump back to SharePoint. On your way there, you'll say Save and Publish. You'll get back to your SharePoint list, view that item, and you're already looking at PowerApps.
Right. Oh, easy. Easy. We're super excited. We're actually going to demo that in a minute. But then,
so you'll see this here too in a minute, because this is just where we've left it so that you can see all these pages. So I like this just because where I've been going.
Yeah. What happens if you build that form and maybe
it sucks.
You don't want it anymore, or you find a new way to do it, or it sucks? Well, you can actually delete that custom form or roll back to previous versions of the form, right? So all built in through the settings page so that you can go in and do that. So as we lead into it, Wes, let's detail out our scenarios for everybody so they know what we're going to do. We're going to do 3 different demos today. And in our scenario, many of you have probably done this before. I know I built lots of InfoPath forms to do these exact things before. We are an IT shop in a company, and we have problems. You know, Mary spilled her coffee on her keyboard again, and she needs to go submit that IT help desk request, and then we have to send somebody out to fix that or to get her a new keyboard because she spilled coffee on it. So we're going to go through today and build out 3 distinctly different form scenarios that could very well have been InfoPath in the past, and how do we do them now as PowerApps. And so with that, I'm going to have Wes take it away with showing us how to build those embedded SharePoint forms.
And even if we weren't using InfoPath, we could still build this solution in SharePoint, just straight up SharePoint without having to do other things. So we've got a straight up list in the modern world. Is that clear? It looks like it's all right.
It's good.
What you're going to see here, if I jump into an item, I've got the default list view, or the default display
it's
item.
kind of boring.
Well, all right, so thank you for saying that, because I'll give the little caveat right now. I am not the designer. That would be her. My forms will be distinctly less designery than hers. All right, so this one right here, out-of-the-box SharePoint form. And because I've already built one, we can actually just go to list settings, form settings, like we were talking about. And I can jump down to selecting the PowerApps forms. I like how when you select it, it takes away the delete option, because that would kind of stink. But we're going to jump back in there, and we're going to see the form that I've built already. And then we'll come back in and delete it and kind of recreate it from scratch so you can see how straightforward that is.
So that first one was the out-of-the-box SharePoint list form, right? So now he's going to show us what he built for PowerApps.
And just to give a little bit of background here, too. So this gives us back to that place where I've got a SharePoint list. I'm managing, let's go look at it real quick since we've got it. I'm managing a whole bunch of data. I've got the information about the requests that people are going to submit, but I've also got information in there that my techs are going to use when they go out there. They're going to have their own notes field so that they can make notes of, well, this was busted, this wasn't really busted, whatever they want to put in there. We're going to assign a tech to the request. We might assign a cost to it as well. But these are all fields that I don't necessarily want my end users to see. I want them to be able to go out there and make a request and say, here's what's wrong, here's what I need, end of story. Or here, and also maybe a priority to say, hey, I can't really do anything until this is fixed. So we've had lots of ways to do that in SharePoint in the past. Sarah Hazi's got a great post on how to do it with content types that we've been using for years. But without that, I'm going to create a form that might look a little different than the way it was out of the box with SharePoint. So this is a PowerApps form. I've got multiple columns. It's, again, not super flashy, but it's an IT request. Who needs that to be flashy, right? So I can get in here. I can use my option fields. I can use multi-select. You can also see here that I've got some fields that aren't selectable. They're just going to be display only. So that's important because when I get over to the tech side of things, I want to be able to assign a user or put notes in there, and I don't want them messing with my description and my reason and things like that, right? So it kind of comes from both directions. All right, so that's our form. Let's get rid of it first, because I didn't really like it, although I'm probably going to create it really similar. So let's go to form settings, and we're going to go back to our backup. We're going to go to the SharePoint default. We're going to delete the custom form. Are you sure? No, but we'll do it. All right. Boom, it's gone. So now if I go and look at an item again, there's our wonderful SharePoint out-of-the-box form. But let's go create something different. So create an app is the one that's been there for a while. This is going to spin up a mobile device app with 3 pages. That's not what we're doing. We're going to customize forms. And this is PowerApps' version of working on it. I still say we should add that clown car music to this. Dun, 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 dun. Not to disparage, but it would just be fun. So it's doing its work behind the scenes. It's worth noting here that the embedded forms are a special type of Power App. It's tied directly to the list. So if you go out there and look for your other Power Apps that you've created, it's not going to be in that list. You're only going to see this one when you're coming from the specific list. All right, here it comes. Almost there. All right, so what it did is it looked at the list. And it grabbed all of our fields and it dropped them onto a form. And there's a bunch of stuff that we can do, but we're going to try and keep it simple. I'm a big fan of let's take it the next step. Let's see how it works. Let's take it the next step after that. So we're going to make this one really simple. The first thing I want to do is I want to take a look at it and say, you know what, I want to change the layout a little bit. So I can go to landscape. Still going to keep it small, but rather than just being the phone format. So it changes the space that we have to work with. All right. Give it a chance here. All right, there it is. So again, we still got all of our fields there. Then what I want to do is I'm going to look at my data. So like I said, by default, is that big enough for you guys? By default, it's picking this vertical format. I can change it around so you can see here how it'll, come on, catch up. There we go. So we've got a couple different ways that we can do that by default. I'm going to stick back with the one that we had to start with. You can choose more than one column, so by default it started with 1. We're going to jump to 2 once it catches up with us. I love conference Wi-Fi. All right. So now we've got that, just so you can see it a little bit better. And but there's still those fields in there we didn't want to take a look at. So like assign to, close date, cost, tech notes. Those are all things I don't want my end users having to deal with. So we're going to go down through this list of fields down here. Title's fine. Request type is fine. Hardware's fine. Let's jump down a little bit further. Assign to. I don't want to see that. So you can delete it if you want to. I find it easier just to make it invisible. So we're back to that security by obscurity model, right? At the end of the day, the data is still managed in SharePoint. It's still there. We're just making it a little bit harder to access or taking it off their plate for something that they don't want to mess with.
What if you want them in a different order, Wes? How do you do that?
You have to write some JavaScript for that? No. So you can just drag and drop, and we'll show you that in a minute. Was that not the answer you're looking for? Yeah. So I
didn't bring my shock collar for Wes today. That's what happens when you've been friends for 10 years. You can poke at each other.
All right, so we're hiding some of these fields. And like I said, I can delete them if I want to, but I'm just hiding them. So as she mentioned, I can also go out here, and I can drag and drop them. Where do I want to move things? Let's see. Let's just take this card and move it over there. So you're seeing here that's not
JavaScript at all.
It's actually writing JavaScript behind this. No, it's not. Right, so it's that easy. So I can go out there and I can grab, and what it's doing is it's grabbing a whole card and not just a single field. So because of the way that it was built by default, it's already grouping together the title field, the data field, and the container for it. So it's pulling all that stuff together, and I can just drag and drop them around here and make it make it whatever flow I want. So that is that. What was the other thing I was going to do? Oh, yes. So if I'm looking at the data, if I wanted to go out here, let's bring one of our other ones back so we can take a look at it. So cost. We bring it back on here. What the other column that you're looking at here is basically how you want that to be displayed as a control. It's part of that card. So I'm defining that card as, do I want to view something or do I want to edit something? And right now it's edit, but I'm just going to say, you know what, I just want to view that. I don't want to edit it. Where did it go? All right, we'll leave that. We'll come back because I'm going to do that again in the second one. But the nice thing here is I don't want these either. Let's hide these. I want some blank space down here. Because Kathy is a designer and she wants some white space to do some wonderful stuff with. And if we want to, we can go and insert some other things. We can bring in real graphics, or we can drop in some icons that are built in. Sure, let's make it a journal icon. And I'm going to give it a label because I want people to understand where they're at. Does this look very complicated? It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Even for Chris.
See, this is what happens when they all come sit in the front, we pick on them.
All right.
Oh, that looks nice, Wes. A little bit of design there.
That's as designery as I get. So, how does our form look? Does that look a little bit nicer than the SharePoint one? Yeah? See ya. I'm done. All right, so as I mentioned before, I don't have to go through anything like save it and figure out how to deploy it to the farm and make sure it's encapsulated in code and run all the other open source codey things. I go to this button and I say back to SharePoint. That's it.
So what you're saying, Wes, is that I didn't have to go to the IT department to get something deployed to customize my list forms anymore.
That is
what
indeed what I have said.
Oh.
And what I have now proven. Come on, dun dun dun.
I'm sorry?
How do you put that on all the other lists now?
For now, it's rebuilding on each one.
Yeah, for now. For now. So, but look, it's right there. Right there with Wes's request. Oh, that looks great.
So, pretty blah, but there it is.
Pretty easy, right? How many of us are going to go back and do this as soon as it's rolled out into our farms on at least one of our lists, right? I've got a couple that I'm going to do it on myself.
What about mobile access?
Mobile access. That's a great question. And I'm not sure that I know the answer to that, but there are several people in this audience that do. So at the end, we'll have them join us for Q&A and answer that.
Yep.
We want to get through all 3 demos before but we'll put that on there for mobile access.
Yep, and part of that's going to be who you're sharing it with. Like once you're in, for this particular one, I believe it's because you've got it on, because it's an embedded form on a SharePoint list. I have a cough coming, but it's just hanging there.
It's just hanging
Sorry.
out.
So I believe that the,
Not that one.
not that one.
Find the right one.
Looking for the other ones? All right.
right.
So I believe it's coming with a regular Power App. I have to see how we're going to work with the embedded ones. But with a regular Power App, you would not deploy, but you would share it with other folks.
Share it.
And then if you've got the Power Apps app on your mobile device and it's been shared with you, it will show up on your list.
But
So-
like I said, the group in the room can help answer that.
Yep.
I know he's already telling me he has an answer, so we have an answer for you. I just don't have it. But we'll get it for you. So kind of going through this embedded directly in the list. Every organization has this. How do we do it? Now I'm going to put Wes back on the spot because now it's time for him to keep doing. I'm going to drag it out for a minute so he can get a breath of water. So that kind of was that easy form, right? There wasn't a lot to it, but that doesn't always meet all of our needs. Maybe we needed to see a little bit more of the data. Maybe we had that InfoPath form that's more than just new or edit list item, and we can now transform that with PowerApps as well. So kind of taking it that one level further, not just our list forms, but taking it a next step. So Wes, can you show us a little bit about how we would do the next one? I'll come re-change you back over.
So So another thing to note here too is that you can go a number of different paths here in terms of which Power App approach to use, which SharePoint approach to use. The one that we're going to look at here in a second is kind of I don't want to say hybrid, it's kind of a combination of a couple of different solutions. My users are used to SharePoint, so I kind of like this, what we've created so far, where they can still come to a SharePoint list, and they can still say, hey, new item, and I'm going to get a form that has the fields that I want. I could, if I wanted to, go and build a completely different Power App that also allows us to do this. But the other thing that I could do is I could create a Power App that's separate from this, that my techs use, or another Power App that the management uses, and keep this completely separate. So the end users don't have to use it. Now, in a real business use case, they probably want this, because if I'm out and about and something's busted, I can still pull it up on my mobile device and request. But this is just one other way you can do it. One thing that we haven't noted is I'm on my SharePoint list. What can a tech do from here now that I've changed this form? If I come in here and I want to assign someone to this item, I don't have access to that anymore, right? Because those fields are gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a full Power App, and I'm going to jump there real quick so you can kind of see what it looks like, and then we'll walk through a few of the steps that we can do to build it out. So when we create Power Apps, when we come up here and say Power Apps create an app, it shows up in our view list. So these are some different Power Apps that I've been playing with. And for now, it shows up like this, although I think once the Power App web part comes out, I think that's going to change a little bit how we build our sites out and how we surface our Power Apps. But this is what we've got for now.
Wes, could you get to this same Power App on a tablet or a phone?
Yep. Any of these true Power Apps, and we'll probably come up with better verbiage than that, but when we come up with Power Apps where we say create an app, that's a straight up Power App. Anytime I share that, it's going to show up on anyone's device who it's been shared with, mobile device or the site that they're on. The other Power Apps for embedded, we'll have to figure out how that gets surfaced here in a little bit.
He's going to tell us as soon as we get done.
Sweet. All right. So as a tech, I have a different. If I was doing this in a straight up SharePoint perspective, I would have a view for my users, or multiple views. I would have things like, here are my requests, here are my open requests, here are my closed requests, here is a way for me to submit new requests. If I'm a tech, I want to go in there and see, show me all of the requests that have not been assigned yet. I want to see, show me the requests that have been assigned to me. And those are some of I would have historically, and I still could, done that with views, right? So I go to my SharePoint list and I do the drop down and say, show me anything that hasn't been assigned, and I work from there. We're kind of doing an analogous solution to that within Power Apps. So we created another Power App here, and this is for my text. So now I've got a list view, excuse me, which is analogous to our view. Once we look into controls here, and we'll show you in a minute, I have the three key things that I had in a SharePoint view. I choose which fields I want to see, I choose how I want them to display in what order, and if I have any filtering on it. So those are kind of the three things that we use to define a SharePoint view. We have that same thing in Power Apps. We just implement it a little bit differently. So as a tech, I'm looking at this solution, and I'm saying, all right, here are the things that I need to look at, and I'm going to jump out and see a little bit more detail. And I've created a form where I can see the other data, the data that my users have submitted, but I can only change two things. I can change my request status, so I can open and close it, and I can assign it to somebody. So that's as easy as that one needs to be. For that particular view, I can direct them to exactly what I want them to do. It's, here's the stuff that has not been assigned, assign it, and it's going to drop off of that list. So now I can get to those fields I couldn't get to in SharePoint because I changed that embedded form, and I'm directed towards something. So from a business process, this is a little bit easier for my users. I don't have to worry about them figuring out what they're supposed to fill out and what they're not supposed to fill out. So let's jump back over there and see what that looks like.
Did everyone notice that he just went to the quick access bar there and said edit and Power Apps, and it took you straight to that Power Apps web studio?
So it's still opening up it's still opening up in the web. It's still opening up.
He's on the conference Wi-Fi, so we love conference Wi-Fi demos.
We need a little device where we can hold the button down and it plays music while we're doing this.
I've always joked with people that if you play the Jeopardy theme song for anything in SharePoint, create new site, working on it, that usually you finish the Jeopardy theme song at the same time it finishes processing.
All right. So we've come in here and we've done a couple of different things. We've got our what's called a gallery, which is connected to our data source. So it's the same data source that we had before, the IT requests. And if we go and look at it, we can choose how we want that data displayed. A couple different options there as well. We're just going to leave it the way we had it. And you'll note some of them there are a different color. How did that happen? What's the the #1 thing that people ask for that they used to do in SharePoint Designer? Anyone?
Conditional
Say it louder.
formatting. We love conditional formatting,
Conditional
don't we?
formatting.
Everybody likes to have that red, green, yellow.
So we've got straight up formatting. I can go through here on any of these fields if I want to, change how big it is, change what font it is, change blah, blah, blah. I can format to my heart's content. But I want to have some conditional formatting. So until this last week, I could have said we couldn't even do that in SharePoint. But now we've got what's the official name for the column?
Column
thing?
formatter.
Column formatter. So now we've got column formatter, which is another stake in the heart of JS Link, and I'm actually grateful for that. This is another way to do it inside of PowerApps. So we're going to do conditional formatting. And as she mentioned, we're not writing code, but for the folks that have come from the world of Excel and Access.
Do any of you use Excel or Access?
How many folks are those
Yeah.
Excel wizards from years back? Come on, raise them high and proud. You're going to be totally at ease with writing formulas in here. So I've got my condition, and I've got the color that I want it to be if it fulfills that, and I've got the color that I want the text to be if it doesn't fulfill that. It is that easy. And you can go through and do that on each field.
So Wes, when you had that, can you go back to your hi there for a second? When you have those, what is that first part in the if statement, the priority value?
So this is, there are two different types of, are you getting into the field?
I would like you to reference how that would maybe be
Complex versus
your column. Yeah.
Right, so these are our columns from
SharePoint
SharePoint.
column, priority.
One thing to note here that I want to make sure people understand is that there's going to be a couple of different places where you'll see fields inside of PowerApps. Actually, there's lots of places you'll see fields, but there's two general things that will happen. Either the field that you want is going to show up in a dropdown because it's a simple field. I'm not sure what the right term is. If it doesn't show up, don't freak out because your data is not coming across. That likely means that you're dealing with complex data, and that means it might be something that's most likely in an option
Choice
data type.
column, a people field, some of those there may not come across in our drop-down list where you saw him go to data
Yep.
and pull those in, but you can still get to that data. You just have to add the .value or the .name behind it, information to get that. So when he was building out that formula to do that conditional formatting, all he needed to know was what column he was looking for, and then if it was a complex column type or a simple column type, so that he would need to know to put that .value after it.
And here's the example of our simple, where we just had this item .title, didn't have to do anything else to it. We did it with the priority value, or we did, it was just priority.
It's just priority.
Now we have to do priority value, and then another great example is the people field. So we have to go a little bit more there, where we say author, and this was a little confusing to me when I first started doing it too, right? In SharePoint, it's called what? Created by. When it comes over, it's not called created by anymore, it's called author. And then what's the modified? It's editor, thank you. So the terminology switches a little bit, but
just a little.
we're all adults, we can deal with it, right? But we had author and then display name. So again, this is a complex data type, not super complex, but it's a little confusing when you're ramping up on it.
So don't feel if you go back and start trying this out that your data's not there. Just figure, you may have to look up, we have some great formula references on the PowerApps website that will help walk you through that and give you some real examples for how to go through and figure that out.
Yep.
Is it possible to do the group by? Yes, you can do group by and sort and filter by.
And what's the one thing that dropped off in the modern view? Anyone know? If you do yeah, all right. What's the one thing I'm thinking of? No. All right. So the one thing that I'm thinking of that was most bothersome to me is if I do a group by, I used to be able, and it was a number figure. What could I do with that group by? I could add it up and have a sum total, right? So that's gone right now. That's something we can do as well. So we're not doing that today, but we'll have a.
But they're all things that you can do fairly easily with PowerApps
Yep.
to build those different views and insights into those apps.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to show, well, all right, so let's back up a little bit here. For folks that haven't seen this before, this app was created from the SharePoint list where I said create an app. And I haven't done anything other than format this screen and the next screen that I'm going to show you. But I want to show you over here on the left side here is I've got a tree view of my form and all the components on it.
There's
So I've got
actually
three
two
forms.
different views there as well. So if you'll change views, it allows us to show them how many
Yep.
screens you have.
That's what I was going to do. So I've got the gallery. Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah.
I'll do that in just a second.
Okay.
And then I've got the detail screen, and I've got the edit screen.
The tree view shows you all the items that are on that screen so that you can easily go through and select them. So say I've got a label or I've got that gallery or that image, I can go through and easily select them.
And that'll also, as I'm clicking these, it also respects the controls at the top. So it's going to give us the control to make those changes right there. So if you're someone who really likes using properties and kind of the Excel format, you can use those. Otherwise, you can go over to the property card over here and see all your options that are available there. It's the same stuff, it's just different ways of getting at the same information. But we've had those three forms all created by default for us. So I don't want to change the edit form, or I'm sorry, the display form. That's just fine for now. But I want to go look at that edit form again. And this is where we talked through this already, but I just want to show you a little bit about what's changing. I've got, give me my data. Oops, on the wrong panel. There we go. Good grief. I need more sleep. All right. So you can see that some of those fields have, again, this is the edit mode, this is the display mode, and that's controlled over here. So I've got request status. Let's go look at that one. And I have the edit the lookup, because I'm going from an option list in the SharePoint list. That's why it's a lookup. If I wanted to change that to a view lookup, it's going to be non-editable by the user. But I don't have to go out there and pick the card, pick the title, pick the field. I'm just doing it from my data perspective and then changing it from a display to a view. Or I'm sorry, from a display to an edit. And we'll just take it right back. So this is how we're accomplishing the stuff that we used to do with using content type switching or just straight out customizing of forms. We're able to do it this way. And again, taking a step back, when I talk about those different users, so as a business analyst looking at these solutions, you're identifying the different users that are coming into these solutions. And like I mentioned before, I typically am going out there and saying, here are the different views that this user type needs, here are the different views that that user type needs, and I also have forms that might go along with that. In SharePoint, that was a lot of stitching together, and that was either custom code or third-party solutions to get all of that stuff to work. Now, I could go back to SharePoint and create a bunch of pages and drop views on those different pages and then customize each of those and then write the navigation stitching between pages. That's all, not the customizing part, but the all stitching together, that's all out of the box SharePoint. So I could actually take it pretty far, but not as far as what we can do with PowerApps, and PowerApps is built for that. And I get mobile, and I get other data access, and I get and. So we're getting those same things. We're getting it in a way, in a tool that was built for it, and with a lot of the advantages that we didn't have before, and the modern look that we didn't have with InfoPath. So I think that's most of what I was going to cover on this one.
That's it, yeah.
All right. Does that make sense? Are people interested,
Right.
excited about that?
So
Yes?
there's lots of different ways. We had lots of InfoPath forms in the past, right? And you've seen a couple of those examples. Building that start small and building on. So getting all of those new things, creating apps from the SharePoint list, changing the displayed fields, that conditional formatting with formulas, cascading drop-downs is something that's possible as well. And so you'll see some of these different things that you had through InfoPath forms and through custom solutions that you would build before now being available with just PowerApps. But maybe we want to take it just a little bit further. Maybe we have 3 or 4 InfoPath forms or 3 or 4 SharePoint lists that we used to have, and we want to combine them all together. Well, with PowerApps, we can actually take that and build a truly rich IT help desk kind of tool set with PowerApps, and that's what we're going to go take a look at now. I can switch over. So we're going to start out by working in PowerApps. So from this, I have an option to create apps. And so we're going to do a little bit of both. I'm going to show you creating from start, and then we're going to go into one that I've kind of started to pre-build out a little bit. Just not enough time to add all the complex functionality in there that we want. So you saw Wes start from building from that SharePoint list data, and you can easily start from there. But one of the things that you may have noticed is his was a mobile app. As we go through and build Power Apps from that quick action bar, one of the things that we kind of mostly assume is that it's going to be a phone layout. And so you start from there using that customized from SharePoint create the app. It's going to build a phone layout. But from the Power Apps Web Studio, which is our authoring system for it, which is what you see on the screen here, if I wanted to create a new app, I get lots of different options when I go to create new app. And one of those is to create a tablet app. So I could start from data, which is loading my data sources up there across the top, SharePoint, Dynamics, OneDrive for Business. Or I could create a blank app, an either phone layout or a tablet layout. And then I can also utilize a number of app templates that are there. The app templates are there to give you an idea of some of the possibilities and some of the designs that are available. So if we were to start by creating a blank tablet layout app, is what we're going to build now is my techs go out actually with iPads. And we need them to go out and build this. So we do that. You start out, and you see the first thing it prompts you to do is to connect to data. And so if I go through and connect to data here, I'm going to pull up a window. It's going to allow me to add a connection. So I'm going to add into SharePoint. I've already connected through Power Apps before into SharePoint. It's going to look for my recent sites, so places that I've recently built Power Apps from. And then from there, you can see here's that IT request form that Wes was working from before. It pulls all the SharePoint lists. Wow. Go into the light.
Checking to make sure everyone's awake.
Woo. Good job. So we're going to add that IT request, and as we do that, we click Connect. It's going to make that connection for us into our data set. And so now if I come in and add a gallery to the form, I hit data table instead of gallery accidentally. That's what happens. We add a gallery. Let's pick a horizontal gallery for this one, just for fun. Now I can come through and select that IT request list. And when I do that, you see it pulls that information in. So we maybe want to change it up a little bit. We could change the information, put our reasons in here. So you can see you can build that fairly easily, starting from scratch, connecting to data, and starting to get data in there. We're actually going to hop over into one that I've kind of pre-built a little bit of it out so that we can see it. And here's our IT help desk support system. A little bit more design to it, creating it and adding in some different components. So how did I do some of that? How did I add in that nice blue bar and all of that? I log in. I want to know what I'm going to do for the day. Let's add in a new screen. It's as easy as going up to our ribbon and add in new screen. We're going to add a blank screen. So with this blank screen, we're going to make this blank screen one of our welcome screens. So I can either drag it or I can utilize my little 3 dots, just like in SharePoint, to move it up and down. All right? So I could drag it or I can move it up and down. You may notice my layout on the left is a little bit different than what Wes was showing you. Mine looks a little bit more like PowerPoint, right? So we have the tree view, and then we have the screen view. So you can look at either as to what you want to do. Now, this screen seems a little bland to me. I don't know about you. So we can go through. Let's actually add in a background image to this. So we're going to add an image file. And look at this. I have a lot of conferences in here. We're going to get a little in the background here. I should have stuck these somewhere else, but Wes and Kathy awesomeness just sounded like such a great place to put it, right? And that's not where it was. It's not where it is. It's not where my file is. There it is. So we go through. This is going to add a background image, and it's going to put that in here. But, oh, wait, it's loading up, and it doesn't look like it covers the whole screen as it slowly loads that. So I can actually go through and change that by going to the image position and telling it that I actually want it to fill my screen. It's really slowly loading. So if I fill the screen, it's actually slowly going to load that full image up.
This is fantastic.
Wes is loving this up here.
Talk more slowly.
Oh, play the Jeopardy theme song. But then maybe as this image slowly loads across the screen here, maybe I want to do some things like what else would I want to do? Well, let's add a rectangle on here. Let's add some more to this screen to make it have a little bit of design. So as we go through, we can drag and drop. I've gone to insert.
Stay ahead of it.
Yeah.
Stay ahead of it.
It's like a game of Frogger. I didn't know. I maybe want to change the color. To go with a fun color here. Maybe I want to know a little bit more. My app's going to be kind of friendly, so let's insert a label. It's going to finally catch up. As we insert a label, it just inserts with that value text. Look, I have that nice handy white space at the bottom that you can see. So with that, but maybe that's not what I actually want it to say. So maybe I want it to say, welcome to me, and then I want it to tell me the name of the logged in user. So by inserting just a simple formula in there, we can actually do that, and I'm not going to let it beat me. So I'm going to come through, and I'm going to change it to be white text so that you can actually see it. And then we're going to make it just a little bit larger. Right? Again, all drag and drop using the ribbon, adding this in, simple formulas. Now it knows who I am, it's welcoming me, and it's finally loaded our full image.
Yay!
So, but how do I get from this screen to my next screen to where I actually know what I want to work? So we're going to go through and insert a quick button. And so as we do this, we're going to hope that the button loads up quickly, and it did. So we're going to add in a button, but blue on blue is not really my thing. So let's go through and change this up. We're going to make it blue and our white, and then we need to, oh, look, our text disappeared. How do we just going to make it black, and then we can change what that button text is to get started. If I could type, that would help too. We can make that button as big or as little as we want. So kind of jumping in, making it fit over this bar, making it not fit. Again, this is for a tablet. So as we're doing these design components, we need to think about things like finger touches. This allows me to be very precise in what I want. What are the colors? How big are things? What am I putting it? How am I making it look? So from here, I've created that button, but I need that button to actually go somewhere. So using my ribbon again, I go to Action, and I can easily go to Navigate and tell it which of my screens I want it to go to. In this case, we do want it to go to the dashboard. And so from there, if I was to go out and run this from this to test it out, because I can live test as I'm building. So from here, if I go through and I click that button, it takes me to that screen that was intended, right? So really easy to quickly build and create these kind of custom experiences in it. So then looking at our dashboard, we're kind of looking at that list of items, that IT help desk request item that was over there. And that's great, Wes, but how do I know what that person has? I've got to have another list or a system somewhere that's telling me what inventory has been assigned to them. So I can easily go through and add that to this same screen. I want to go to Insert. I'm going to add in a gallery. We're going to do a vertical gallery again. So it's going to add this gallery to the page. I'm going to drag it over a little bit to where I want it. And then I need to connect it to that data source. So we're going to go through, and you can see I've already pre-populated these, so you don't have to watch me do a connection again. That same connection where I selected the list, I'm going to select my hardware inventory. When I do that, it's going to go through and it's going to pull that information in. So I want to go through and see I've got, it's been assigned to Wes. I can go down and see the next component of it. I want to see the inventory ID, and then I've got a picture over here. And so, but it's a picture, but maybe, do I actually have a picture? Well, I do have a picture, but that's not the right field for it. So if I go through and I pull the right column, hopefully it's pulling the right column. Ah, look, I've got image URLs in my SharePoint list, so now I can even see that piece of equipment that's been assigned to us. And, but I see his name there, but I don't actually know who this is assigned to. Again, using those very easy Excel-like formulas, I can add in the column name in front of this gallery component. So this one, I'm going to go in and add some text to it, some correctly typed text. And then add that ampersand, and once I hopefully let it catch up to me, add that ampersand. Now it's going to add that label to that field. Very quickly and easily, I'm able to go through and customize this gallery to show what I need, using my data field, that quick drop-down list of being able to select my columns from SharePoint to display what I want in that field. So if we hide our data column, we can come over, we can start really looking at this. Boy, Wes, you've got some really outdated technology. I'm really hoping that you spill some coffee on some of these and upgrade them sometime soon, right? I mean, look at this phone. It's a rotary phone, and I don't even know. I mean, is that a Commodore computer? Like, how old is your computer?
I use it to keep my office warm.
Oh, okay. But I mean, so quickly and easily, we've started building out some of these things. Now, if I want to go through, just like Wes was doing before, and see some of that capability that's in there and take it one step farther, maybe I need to do the conditional formatting, but I don't really want to deal with a lot of that kind of writing it. So let's go through, and I want to see, oh, look, this whole section here is red, kind of a pinkish red. Well, what is that? Well, with that, we're actually making use of a rule within it. So you can see right here in our card column over here on the side, our details pane, I can go in and I have a rule that's been assigned to this, and I can look and see, and it's going to set that field to red anytime the value equals high. And I've set that through a very easy action here. I can go through and define the action, select what I want it to, change the color. And so maybe we need to do that for our request status too. So when we come over here, we're going to finish that rule out. We're going to go to our request status. We're going to build a new rule. So with our new rule, we're going to say when it is equal to. So that data card value is going to be equal to, but we need the text field. Right? Again, that complex component of it, we need that text field. And then we want to have it be anytime it says new. So we're building out that formula. We're going to define the action. We said what we are looking for. Now, what do we want it to do when we look for that? So it's going to, let's go. It's so excited. Like, let's go. Every time I think of it, I want to go like have like a fun little like Disney character go, let's go. So I'm going to go through. I've got my request status. What do I want it to do? So very simply, I can come through and I can pick my fill color, and I want that whole section to be green when it's new. And so I've gone through and I've done that. I said, this is what I want. Now if I click on done, it actually is going to go through and finish this rule and close it out. So as I go through and build these out, I can quickly and easily create these components to allow my different sections of my form to do different things as we need them to, right? So that's all great, but as I send my techs out into the field to go do this, they need to validate that Mary actually spilled coffee on her computer, right? They need, why is it really damaged? Is it not? Did she just not plug the cable in? Because we've all had those kinds of help desk support calls from our family, right? It doesn't work. Well, did you plug it in? Right? So maybe with that, I want to come in and we need them to take some pictures of the damage or the item to prove, to validate that it's actually broken. So with this, again, we can make use with PowerApps the native controls and components, the capabilities of the devices that we're using. So with tablets and laptops and phones, we have things like a camera control. So maybe we want to add in a camera control to this form so that our techs can take pictures of it. And so we're going to go through. It's going to ask if I can use the camera. Oh, hi. Hi, everybody. Wes, you want to get on this?
Hello.
Hi. Right, so it's making use of the default camera for the device, so you can set it up to use your rear-facing or your front-facing. I always set mine to use front-facing, so you get to look at my smiling face from two angles as you're looking at the demo, right? So you can put this in here, and you can allow your techs now to capture pictures of the damaged items as they're going through and doing this. So again, this very richly designed form experience, connecting multiple data systems together and kind of going beyond that. But maybe, I don't know about you, but a lot of times my work doesn't end with just forms or apps. Like I need some type of automation, some business process to happen from it, right? We talked about having this be assigned to, or maybe we need to have this hardware assigned to somebody and have somebody else go get it and deliver it. Well, we can do that very easily through a Power App with Microsoft Flow. And so being able to add that next layer, take it one step further, we couldn't do that very easily with InfoPath. We did have SharePoint designer workflows we could tie in, but it wasn't easy. They were hard to do. So with PowerApps and Flow, we can do that very easily. So again, we could maybe put a button on here. And this very fancy button is going to be our flow. So assign.
Could you do the picture thing with InfoPath?
Oh, no, not really.
Oh, okay.
No, not really. So with this, we've got this button now. We want them to come in and click on the button and do this, but how do I want it, what do I want it to do? So right from my Action tab, one of the options is flows. So if I click on flows, it's going to go through and it's going to pull any flows in that have been assigned to it. I can easily come in and click that. But how did I build that flow? So with Microsoft Flow, we have, again, another very visual, very easy to use designer tool for that. You can get to both PowerApps and Flow from Office, anywhere, both from the SharePoint windows as well as from the tiles through the app launcher. So make sure you know how to get there. But we can go in and get to Flow. So here's a flow that I designed for this. And this is kind of the dashboard for it. So you can see what it's connected to. You could see if it had run previously. You could see that history on it. But let's go in and look at it. So we're going to click on Edit Flow. And as we go in, you're going to see the first action on it is PowerApps, right? Because I'm wanting the trigger to be a PowerApps button. So I've got that PowerApps. And the next piece is I want it to create something in SharePoint. I want it to create an item in my SharePoint list. And then after that happens, I want to send an email. So let's go through and look at these. As we go into the create item, we're able to define the list that we want it to create the item into. And then when it gets down to things like my title and the hardware and who it's assigned to, I'm able to simply come in here and tell it to ask in PowerApps. So when I go in and I remove that field, one of the options that happens in Microsoft Flow is it looks at the connections that you're making in the systems, and it gives you suggestions for what you're maybe wanting to do here. And so you can see it has Ask in PowerApps as our first component. So I click on that. It's going to go ask PowerApps, hey, what's in the hardware field? And that's what it's going to use to populate into our SharePoint list. I can do the same thing for the email. So you can come into the email system here and you can send an email. It could look for who to send the email to from PowerApps. It could have something custom in there. You get it to define a subject. Again, my subject is combined what I want, text, and then the field from PowerApps that I want it to put into that text, and then the body of it below that. And so by quickly going into Flow, using this was an out-of-the-box template that we've given you as a suggested item that you might want to do. I can go through and quickly configure this, save it, share it with people, add it to my PowerApp, save and publish the PowerApp, and go out and use it. So let's go through and kind of look at our PowerApp here. And so we have our nicely designed homepage. It knows who I am. It will change. If Wes logged in, it would say, welcome, Wes Preston. So we get started. We come in. We can look at our items. We go to our low priority here. We can edit the item. It takes us to that editable form field, right? We have our assign button. So we can go through and do all of those processes across multiple systems now from one Power App that we built out really quickly and easily. We can edit it and change it. So as we go through, how do I get this to other people in my organization? I'm going to come through. I'm going to save it. Once I save my Power App, it's going to prompt me to publish the Power App. I'm going to then publish the Power App, and then I'm going to share it with the people that I want it to go to. So you see it saved it. Now I can publish it. We want to publish the version. It does keep version history, right? So I can then go through version history, so you can see all the versions, and then I could easily share the app by clicking on Share This App, right? And I can share it with people across my organization that need to have access to it. Right? So very quickly, we were able to go through and build an app that connected multiple systems together, that used the device capabilities, that automates with the business process through Flow. So we were able to kind of really quickly and easily do that. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Nice guess.
Whew. Wow. So where do we go from here? You can build more screens. You could do more flows with it. There's so much that you can do with Power Apps that the options are kind of limitless. You can take those InfoPath forms that you had previously and really start to transform them over and build them into really rich Power Apps that our users can go through and utilize. So So we did want to do a couple of quick highlights of where we're going with both PowerApps and Flow. I'm not going to go through all of them because we do want to leave like a couple minutes, 5 minutes for questions. But I wanted to put these up. So these are some of the highlights for the roadmap for where Flow is going. Give people a minute to take some pictures. There's a lot of great things on there. One of those is a rich HTML editor to build those emails out, so no longer having to write that using HTML, but giving you a rich editor. And then this is our highlight roadmap for the next bit on PowerApps, so you can really start to see some of the things to go through and do this. Attachments and multi-select fields and images in your driven PowerApps. Being able to embed them in those SharePoint web parts in your pages. So taking it out of the list experience and putting those PowerApps into our pages experience with a web part. We do have a lot of references out there. There's some really great guided learning, forums, blogs, documentation out on the PowerApps website. That's powerapps.microsoft.com. Similarly, we have the same on the Flow website, flow.microsoft.com as well.
I've never seen as good a documentation on any other Microsoft product as I have with PowerApps. They've done a wonderful job.
Kudos to the team in the room. Please do your evals, and we will stick around to answer questions. And we have several members of the engineering teams for PowerApps and Flow here. So please don't hesitate to come up. We're really excited to see where you all go with PowerApps. Thank you so much.
Thank you.